Hello, I'm Irvin D. Reed, President Emeritus of Wayne State University. Today I'd like to tell you about an exciting new program we've created at the university. First, I will tell you about its goals, then I will tell you how it works. Just a few years ago, Detroit stood on the brink of financial disaster. From 2005 to 2012, the Detroit School District had closed 130 schools due to shrinking enrollment and dilapidated buildings. By some estimates, the city of Detroit's total debt exceeded $19 billion. It was clear that the city needed a new direction, and its citizens needed to be more involved. Detroit citizens needed a program that would increase their knowledge of Detroit finances in order to be involved in the solutions and not just be spectators.
With the county and have the inmates cut those parks like they do on the freeway. Right, like they do.
In which case you'll have parks overgrown or not maintained.
Population increase or decrease. So you've got 3 there, 4.
In 2012, I had the opportunity to meet with a former member of the Detroit City Council, Sheila Cockrell, to talk about citizen engagement, and we came up with a great idea.
Civic engagement is absolutely the bedrock foundation for a democracy to flourish, and is really important to help inform people as to what the history of policies are, what the pros and cons of the different policy is, and how to hold elected and appointed officials accountable for the implementation or the lack thereof of a particular policy.
CitizenDetroit is an excellent model of exercises that we perform with the residents and citizens of the city of Detroit. Typically, we present extraordinarily well-researched information about particular items. It could be city services, it could be the budget, it could be public schools systems, it could be police department issues.
We've had events from 25 people for private events where we'll go to their actual location, so that's scheduling for a smaller component of people, to actually even our standard dinner and dialogue events, which consist of approximately 75 to 125 people.
CitizenDetroit provides factual data and information about the realities of these situations, how they came to be, and then we will put the citizens through interactive exercises in the form of games, we call them, but they have so many purposes. One is to give citizens from each council district an opportunity to interact with one another, discuss the information that is presented to them, and then on game boards prioritize or select priorities that represent their opinion and how things could be handled.
In our early sessions, we had the event split up into 2 main parts, a factual presentation followed by a group activity at district-based tables. So we presented on how Detroit ended up in bankruptcy, one of the key points being that our elected leaders continued to not pay our debt obligations. And so by the time of the group activity, when participants had to decide how to manage the city's budget, are we going to pay for fixed costs? How much are we going to put towards debt obligations? How much are we going to put towards city services? They knew how important it was to put towards fixed costs. And so they got to see what City Council had actually budgeted and then make their own decisions. And we saw them really struggle with that decision and see how hard it is to know you have to pay fixed costs and then have to cut your budgets for lighting or trash pickup or rec departments.
It's more a fun game experience where you either take on the role of, say, city council, or you actually do an actual game board style format that allows you to really get interactive and it's just a great way to learn. And then so you're not just learning and gaining information, but you're actually having a good time while you're doing it.
During the dinner and dialogue sessions, we asked the representatives to report what their groups had discussed and decided.
Also down health and recreation, offering free health clinics.
So our first priority was to reduce Belle Isle and reduce the water and sewage.
We all want to cease the arson problem here. We all want to make sure that our police respond to the things to which they should be responding. And we want to make sure, like, the police district, that we know where we're going when we need to get there, so that if we ever get a job, we can get there and we need to.
People are hungry, are thirsty to get factual data from sources that they trust. When there's an aha moment where somebody who really didn't get the idea that pensions get paid for from tax revenues as opposed to sort of somehow come from somebody somewhere.
People understand the money that comes in and the money that goes out. They understand basically about borrowing, and pretty much they understand you can't borrow your way out of a deficit. So the basic concepts are applicable to their household budget, and what we try to do, particularly with the younger folks that we talk to, is talk about budgeting, talk about how much money is coming in, talk about the wise way to plan to spend that, and what happens when those plans go awry.
And if we don't pay our claims, that the judge will levy interest rates.
We also had clusters in job attraction and neighborhoods and housing around the number of homes in foreclosure and the tons of illegal dumping removed. That was something we had a lot of discussion about.
Why do you think that was important?
The infant mortality rate? Well, I mean, I think that it speaks to the health of the children, our next generation, right? And they're the ones that are going to lead us, and then we have to make sure that they're healthy. And so if they're not healthy, that means that we're not healthy.
The idea of democracy is right now about representation, not about participation. So I think it's going to be really important for existing Detroiters and new Detroiters to participate in this idea of citizenship. What their role is, what the government's role is, what the proper checks and balances look like.
You know, the city's total budget's over $2 billion. The general fund budget is over $1 billion. It's a very complicated process to explain in ways that people can relate to, that they understand the language, that you're avoiding the jargon, and that makes it meaningful to them, because we want these lessons to be lessons that can be applicable in their lives.
The level of knowledge that residents have about how you fund pensions, what it means if bad pensions decisions get made, what it means if you, as a local government, take essentially a credit card to pay a credit card. These are ideas that our facilitators have become very comfortable with, and when they get those aha moments from a citizen where it's like, wow, I really didn't understand how tough, how dangerous this was, it's fulfilling.
It's good to be able to come out to these meetings and give them the information that they were unaware of. And I love to hear when they have issues. I don't look at it as complaints because it always can be resolved. But when we don't know what your issue is, we like to hear it, and we do not shy away from it at all. I complained to the officers, nothing happened. I didn't even know I had a neighborhood police officer. I didn't know this and that. It's fine that you didn't know before, but now that you do know, we can move forward. So I think this was awesome. I love the game and I love the dialogue.
It's sharing knowledge, it's sharing information. It is truly building a community, and it's building democracy. The more informed people are, the more vibrant and vital your local democracy can be, and the facilitator role is critical to advancing that agenda.
Making real change in Detroit, particularly as the city continues its progress toward financial recovery, is no easy task. But we wanted to show that there is a valuable role for a movement of citizen engagement whereby citizens grapple with the same problems that their leaders face. They may not have the experience of elected leaders, but they have the passion and the interest.
So all we need is another $150,000 at the bottom.
You take it out of city council, take those cars away and all of that.
We done took that down. We done cut it in half.
Cut some of your salary.
Citizen Detroit is showing that if groups of citizens are brought together and given a chance to reach consensus on a variety of issues, they may elevate their participation in their democracy.
I think this is an important piece for everybody to understand their civic responsibility, their financial responsibility, and their overall responsibility to humanity as a whole. So if we do this with first graders, second graders, third graders, especially high schoolers, they would understand the city that they live in, the city they want to raise their children in, and the city that they love, and how it is taken care of, and what their responsibilities are to it, both politically and personally.
It's important to understand the financial catastrophe that DPS has been. However, it's really important to understand why that's happened. And when we make decisions about borrowing, or when we make decisions about our leadership, it's important to understand whether they have the capacity, the knowledge, and the capability to make intelligent and thoughtful decisions that will ensure we don't end up here 20 years from now. So I think with the concept of being empowered with knowledge, it really becomes with a personal responsibility to make sure that we elect the right type of leadership.
We believe that when this happens, it will be because citizens become engaged in new ways of working together toward common goals. That is to say, when we all have become true partners in democracy. Again, I'm Irvin D. Reed, and on behalf of Sheila Cockrell and myself, we wish you the very best in creating your own civic engagement program. If we can be of help, please contact us.